Hey guys, Jason here. I'd like to thank you for watching my video. I appreciate you guys all. Anyways, I want to begin by saying I'm not like one of these YouTubers that, want to impress you. Want to act for likes or views or whatever. I'm not in it for the money, guys. It doesn't matter to me. Why I do this is I've been doing this since 1998. I've been trying to bring the correct understanding of what the Bible is trying to say. Okay? I'm not here to debate. I'm not here to uh, uh, tell you what to believe. Okay? I'm not here as a Christian either. Okay? I repented of Christianity long time ago, the day I accepted Jesus. Okay? Yeah, I accepted Jesus back when I was 9 years old. Okay? I have mastered the Bible by the time I was 13 years old. That's all I did as a kid. When you're Native American growing in a predominantly white community, you don't have very many friends. Okay? The friends that you do have, right, tend to call you names. Okay? Some of those names are wagon burner. Some of those are, that's all I heard was, that's all, that's it. I never understood what they'd actually mean. But I knew what the intention was. Okay? See, I'm the type of person, right, that gets angry. Okay? And anybody that talks smack to me, all right, I'm not going to let them walk away with it or get away with it. That's just the type of person I was or am. All right? And that's what I said. It's just I'm quick, to resolve a situation. All right? It doesn't matter how big the guy is either. Okay? All right? But I've never come to a cross where someone, attacked me. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because of I'm getting a lot of ridiculous comments on my Instagram page. Like, I don't really care for Instagram because I can't post my Bible verses because there's too many haters to block it, right? I can't stand Instagram. Okay? So I post all the biblical information on my Instagram page, right? And it's all there. Okay? So I'm not here to argue the Bible to you. I'm not here to argue your salvation. Because I could give two shits what your salvation is. Right? See, what people don't understand is they think that Jesus' name was Yeshua. Okay. BS. Okay? This is what people don't understand. When the Bible is God's Bible, okay, it's God's plan. It's not man's plan. But obviously, men, Christians, religious type, oh, Jesus saved me because he died for me. No one dies for no one. Just because the murderer, the guy that murdered Jesus, right? He's the one that's perpetuating this Christian lie. There's no such thing as Christianity in the view of Jesus. Guys, there's no such thing because the New Testament wasn't created yet. Okay? When Jesus tells you to follow him, he's trying to tell you, I'm trying to show you who God is in the Old Testament, dum-dums. That's what he's talking about. He's not talking about you, oh, I love Jesus. Oh, I just want to hold his hand. I've known this since I was a kid. Okay? The guy that the Christians are following is the devil. The Bible is clear about murderer is the devil. I don't know how come Christians haven't figured that out yet. I've known that since I was a boy. And I'm wondering, why are the Christians following the devil for? The guy that murdered Jesus. You know, I used to ask this to the pastor, and the pastor could never give me an answer. Ask your pastor that. And then show them the correct verses where God is saying, I'm not here, I don't. Here, I'll just show you. I get flustered when I get this because I'm all riled up because of these heinous comments. It's about a security guard, the role of the security guard, okay? But every situation is different, okay? And on this Instagram, some idiot makes some stupid video about some elder. He looks to be about in his 80s, right? Assaulting a debit machine. Okay? So the idiot makes, you know, stupid sounds in his video to make him sound stupid. Do you know what I mean? These are the type of people I can't stand. It's not funny to me. Why do people think it's funny when they make stupid videos like that, intending to cause more harm than good? Okay, so anyways, in this particular instance, I could give it two shits of what the security guard. I could give two shits what this Canadian law says. I'm sovereign Native American. Some of you may not understand that. I have a treaty card which tells you that I am sovereign. See, the Canadian government doesn't recognize us, Native Americans, here in our own land. Instead, we have immigrants here trying to tell us what we can and what we cannot do. And I'm quick to tell them that, right to their faces. My aunt is the same way. My aunt will always, for instance, there's this one ignorant black woman. Yeah, she comes, she's big boned and all that, my aunt said. She says she comes in there and she pushes her out of the way to get ahead of the line. And then my aunt went up to her and says, got upset with her. This is my country. Why are you pushing me out of my way in my own country? I was here first. She went up to her and told her. And anyways, the guy, I think the manager with her came up and talked to my aunt, and the lady, the lady said, go told that black lady to go sit back. That's what I said. See, that's the type of my aunt is. And that's the way I am. I don't take shit from immigrants. If you're born here, it doesn't matter to you. You're still an immigrant. You're still a landed immigrant. Okay? This Canadian government is a corporation. It doesn't exist, guys. You guys can make the laws all you want and all this judge, all this bullshit. You can make all these laws. It doesn't, I don't give a shit. You could throw me in jail how many times you want. I don't give a shit because it's all fake, guys. The reason why the system is here is to protect the corporation. The Canadian government is to protect the corporation. That's what it's all about, guys. And then each time that these fools online are defending their security guard, they're defending the corporation. Okay? So anyways, in this situation, this elder looks to be upset, grievous, right? I don't know if anybody witnessed this HBO TV series called Band of Brothers, right? It's a military type show, right? And it's about the 101st Airborne, right? And they go into Normandy, right? And as landed paratroopers, right? So, anyways, they have some scenes there where some soldiers witness some soldiers, getting blown up, and these soldiers suffer from this PTSD syndrome. Okay, and when you see something like that, that's never going to leave you. Okay, And post-traumatic stress syndrome is the real thing. It's a mental disability. Okay, so in this case, this elder looks like he was smashing something. Right? He didn't understand what he was doing, it looks to me. That's my assessment. But in this video, the security guard assaulted him right away. Brought him down and all that, whatever. See, what I'm trying to, in my point of view, like, I have my right to speak, regardless of how many people think they're right. I don't give a shit if you're right. It's the same way as the Bible. The Bible is quite clear. You read it for what it's worth. You don't take things out of it, cherry pick whatever that you want to see, and think you're right and say, "Well, I'm saved." That's what Christians do. And then they go to war with you, trying to prove their BS. And they always use Paul's words to do so. It's the same way what's happening here in this video. So, what I would do, personally, as some random dude, I would ask the person, "Are you okay?" Usually you will get a response like, "No one's going to attack you," especially an elder. People want them to listen to them first. They want to be listened to, guys. Just like when I worked for this telecommunications company I worked for. Most people that call, they're upset already because it has to do with their finances. And that's what it's all about. It's about money. People don't have money anymore. So they're going to be frustrated. Okay? So people want to be listened to. They don't want to be told this, and this. No one cares. They want empathy. They want compassion. They want to be shown that they are a human being. See, that's the type of person I'm going to go ask for. Even the building I live at here, right? I have tons of homeless people trying to camp here. And they do their drugs and they do whatever, and I don't know what they do. If I grabbed them and threw them out of my area, right? They're just going to keep coming back. So, rather than trying to assault them, I communicate. And my skills improve in communication. This is how you deal with people. You communicate with people. All right? So, in this instance, okay, this is what I would see. In the business perspective, the security guard, yes, they have all these laws. They can take down people and assault people. But if you're intelligent enough, you would communicate. And if you're friendly enough. You see, I had a father-in-law. He was a security guard for many, many years. He had never had to touch nobody. And that tells me it's all based on your persona. Your ability to deal with human beings. Okay? And that's what it's all about. Your skills on how to deal with human beings. Okay? It's about skills. It has nothing to do with, "Oh, I know the law. And the law tells me this." Well, if you're a clown like that, you're not going to get anywhere in life. You're just going to go around bullying people because you have the law behind you. I know those type. This goes back to when I was in elementary school. Back to these bullies. They called me names and all that. Right? There's nothing I could do. Until I realize I can defend myself. And that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to defend myself. If any security guard attempts to touch me, I will defend myself. But it's never gotten that far. But that's my point. The security guards have no authority. None whatsoever. They think they have it. They don't. What their authority is to protect the interest of the business. Okay? Their job is to report it to the police, document, and record everything that's happening. As for the old guy that's damaging the debit machine, he's going to stop one day. right? And the business, all right, has insurance. That insurance covers the damages of the debit machine. Once the old man cools off, if there was an expert there to talk with the guy to prevent him from doing that in the first place, it would never have gotten that far in the first place. It begins with customer relations. Obviously, the old guy was upset at something about the cashier or whoever was handling the business. Got him upset. It should have never gotten that far in the first place. But considering, these cashiers are, kids, they don't know skills whatsoever, right? They have no clue. You go to a cash register, I know, I've experienced it. I get frustrated. We all get frustrated. Okay? This is where our skills come into effect, where we how to stop ourselves from doing that. Okay? But in this particular instance, the elder couldn't control himself. That tells me that he's suffering from PTSD. Which also tells me that this guy must have been a World War II veteran. Or suffer maybe from North Korea. A vet from the North Korea. But nobody's going to ask him that. Nobody cares. But in my quick assessment, I would see that he's probably a World War II vet. And he's suffering some sort of PTSD. Okay? And it doesn't take much to ask a person, go next to him and ask him, is everything okay? That's what I would do. But anyways, everyone online, there's just like, I'm getting these ridiculous comments, like books, lengths. I'm like, how long are you going to, like me, I just get stupid with people because they're being stupid to me. So I asked them, I say all these stupid comments, you know what I mean? I tell them, whatever. Anyways, but the point is, what I want to talk to you about, it's the same way as the Bible. I get all these comments from all these Christian people, and they do not want to read the Bible. Oh yes, they read what Jesus says. All I hear is constantly hear Matthew 24. Matthew 24. Is that the only thing that Jesus knows and says? And then if you say something, you hear the response by, judge not, lest ye be judged. It's the same thing. Same ridiculous comments from Christians. They don't know how to read. They don't understand that God's in charge, not what Paul says. Paul can say anything he wants to flatter you, to make you feel secure with your salvation. It's God's salvation. It will always be God's salvation. This is what people don't seem to comprehend. God created the earth, guys. God, if you create something, you're accountable to what you create, guys. Do you guys not understand that? Okay? You create this painting, and the whole world despises it. Okay? You're still accountable for that painting. Do you guys understand that? Someone creates a painting. You don't go send someone to speak for that painting and then kill them for that painting. But that's what has happened. Everyone's defending the guy that's, protecting the painting. They don't want to deal with the guy that created the painting. That's the whole point. They don't want to sit and read the guy that created the painting, his information. Heck with that. They don't want to go there. Because if they go there, they're going to understand what God's actually saying. Okay? When God says, thou shalt not kill, God's not joking around. That's what I'm telling people. Okay? Exodus 20 verse 13. 1 plus 3 is 4. 2:4, as in 2024. This is how the Bible works, guys. Right? This is God speaking here. And when God says, thou shalt not kill, that is a commandment you have to obey. Once you kill a person, you are spiritually dead. Do you understand that? You have broken God's covenant. The only way for redemption from that is repentance. Constantly. And that's what Paul was trying to do. Instead, what he did, he put everybody in prison because of his guilt. So that's why you have to stay away from Paul. He's not going to get you into heaven. No matter how good you act. You are expected to understand what God is saying in the Old Testament. This is the fire. Okay? The fire that, the lake of lava and all this stuff, that scary stuff that people don't want to go on. All right? Everybody has to go through it. That is God's word. That's God's voice. You're cleansed by God. Do you not understand that? That's what he's saying in the Bible. If you're not reading that, how are you supposed to know the mind of God, which is the knowledge of God? That is God's testimony. That is what you're saved by. I kept hearing this all throughout my life. Hearing all this bullshit testimony. Of what? I was a whore in the gutter, and I seen a Jesus picture, and I felt Jesus' presence with me, so I gave myself to Jesus. That's a load of horse shit. You're expected to understand what God's testimony. It's about God's testimony. It's about God and His knowledge. That's it. And then when you stand before the throne, when you die, you're expected to know that, where the commandments are found. You're expected to understand what the seal of God is. Okay? This is what God expects you to understand. That's why He gave you His words. He gave you His commandments. It doesn't matter what the Jewish traditions are. Who gives a shit what the Jewish traditions are? You could be whoever you want. But when God created man in His image, it's not in a Christian image. It's not a Jewish image. It's not a Muslim image. It's the image that God is creating for you. Is your person. Your humanity. That's it. Alright? So, Christians have this understanding there's only one Son of God. Who says? Who says there's one Son of God, man? According to the Bible, right? The sons of God. The sons of God are actually the prophets, guys. That's who they are. This is what you guys don't seem to understand. Okay? Satan is people, let's understand the Hebrew word what Satan is. It's Hasatan. God's adversary. So if you are against God's commandments, if you are against God's commandments, you don't keep God's commandments, His holy law, you are a Satan. Do you guys understand that? So if you see people online defending Paul or John or whatever men's opinion, disregarding God's law, because the law is the rock, it's the foundation. Okay? Without that foundation, you have nothing to stand on. That's what Jesus is trying to tell you in Matthew 7:24. The commandment is the rock. And the sand, it's that story of don't build your house on the sand. Build it upon the rock. Do you guys understand? So, but that's the whole point. They don't care to keep God's commandments because they're all Satan. Christians are Satan, guys. Satan in the flesh. That's why the world's in chaos, because the whole world thinks, oh, we're free. We can get away with things because Jesus died and saved our sins. That's why the world's in chaos, because you see all these people, these convicts, all these thieves. Have you ever noticed pastors? They're usually convicts. Think about that for a moment. And who did Pontius Pilate release? The convict. The pastor. Yeah, I know there's some pastors that are they're good ones, but they're not good. They're liars, right? So, anyways, the sons of God are the prophets. You know, they came before God along with Satan. You know, the Christians. You know, everyone's standing. Everyone's going to stand before God. Is what it's saying, which is happening right now. All right, so. This is God speaking here. He says, my covenant will I not break, nor alter the thing that's gone out of my lips. Yeah, I agree with that. I've always known that. This is why I keep the commandments. I don't keep men's traditions. There's a difference. You just keep the law. Don't kill anybody. Don't steal for anything from anybody. Treat with people with respect. You'll be fine. It's just a natural law, guys. It's called God's divine law. This is what people don't seem to understand. It's divine law, is what I'm trying to show you. Okay? It's not, the commandments you obey. No. Everything in the Bible, it's divine. You need to understand who's speaking and what to stay away from. You stay away from men's opinions. It's as simple as that. Okay? Psalms 94:1 or 94:11. The Lord knows the thoughts of man, that they are vanity. Obviously, vanity is you guys. Oh, guess what? I'm a Christian. Jesus died for my sins. Oh, wait a minute, Sherlocks. It's not about you. When Jesus told you, he gave you a command, says, deny yourself and pick up your cross. Picking up your cross is saying, you know what? You better follow God. And know who God is and his commandments. That's what Jesus came to do. Jesus was defending God's commandments in his law from the Pharisees and the Sadducees. The experts, the experts on YouTube, the stars on YouTube, like Jacob Israel, like all these false, phony, baloney pastors. Psalms 139:19. Surely thou wilt slay the wicked, O God. Depart from me, therefore, ye bloody men. Well, that's what the Christians do. They're covered in Jesus' blood, right? They're drinking Jesus' blood. They don't understand, actually, the wrath that they're facing. Because you guys don't understand what the Old Testament is saying, what God is saying. Yeah, you see Jesus saying, here, drink, this is my blood. Because he knew that the disciples, were going to betray him. And they're betraying him right now. He knew that. When Jesus tells you in Matthew 16:20, okay, he charged his disciples to tell no man that he was Jesus, the Christ. He's telling you, stay away from Christ, the idol. Then he continues on in Matthew 24:23, if any man comes to you telling you there's Christ here or there, do not believe him. That is what you have to believe. You have to believe what Jesus had said. There's no such thing as Christ. That's what you got to believe. It's referred to as a catch-22. You believe what Jesus is saying, that he's not Christ. That's the whole debate. The Christians are so focused on saying, oh, I have Christ in me, Christ in me, Christ in me. Oh, you love, care, and all that. Look, it doesn't matter if you're Christian or not. You could be a good person and help others, show compassion to people without being a Christian. It's called being a human being first, guys. God created a human being first, not a Christian. God, show me in the commandments where God created a Christian. I want to see that in the commandments where God specifically says, thou shalt be a Christian. Thou shalt be a Jew. Thou shalt be a Muslim. It doesn't exist, guys. And this is the problem the world is in. See, nobody believes in God because they believe in their idol. Their idol is religion. That religion, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, is the divided house that Jesus was speaking about in Mark chapter 3, verse 26. The devil's house is divided. How much more do you need to understand and not get it? God's house is a unified house, and that house is what I'm raising up. And I'm showing you my name. My goodness, the Instagram person. I'm getting this black commenter. He's giving me books and books and books about what John says or what Peter says and what John says. But he never wants to address what Jesus is saying about Matthew 16:20 or Matthew 24:23. They never want to address those verses. They never do. You never hear them debating using Jesus' words. They never do. Because Jesus always leads you back to the God's law. That's why they use these foolish men's opinions in the New Testament. Right? All you need is understand what Jesus said in red. And have the Ten Commandments in the back of your mind. Then you understand. Isaiah 1:21, Israel divided. How has the faithful city become a harlot? It was full of judgment, righteousness lodged in it, but now murderers. So what's happening in Israel right now? Or Palestine with, the occupation Israel. If the Jewish people really cared for their Bible, they would understand that this is nothing but spiritual. It has nothing to do with a physical Israel. The Israel in the Bible, it's God's spiritual Israel, where God personally gathers himself. That's why we have Ezekiel 34:11, where Lord God gathers his own. Did the Jews miss that part? Yeah, they did, just like the Christians. That's why you have to instruct it to wait, but they don't want to wait. Now this is directed to the pastors now. Jeremiah 3:15. And I will give you pastors according to mine heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. Jeremiah 7:22. For I spake not unto your fathers, nor commanded them in the day I brought them out of the land of Egypt concerning burnt offerings or sacrifices. So the sacrifice of Jesus does not exist. Do you understand that? God did not order it. God didn't say, oh, sacrifice my son on the cross and you guys will be saved. After God said, thou shalt not kill, God's not a hypocrite. That's the problem with you guys' Christian doctrine. You ignore what God is saying. And that's the danger you put yourselves in, because in the Bible, it's quite clear. They ate from the tree of good and evil. Okay? You need to understand what that good and evil part is. The good is God's commandments. The evil is men's opinions. Do you guys understand that? They ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. They ate from what men are saying in the Bible. And not eating from the tree of good. Do you guys get it now? So everybody that's eating from that tree right now has become spiritually dead. This is why God resurrects people. Why you stand before God. Why Jesus told you And Matthew 5:8, blessed are the pure in heart, they shall see God. Jesus is warning you that everybody's going to see God. That's why we have Revelation 20:12. All the dead will stand before God. Do you guys understand now? Everyone in the world is spiritually dead. That's why God has to wake everybody up. Why God has to come into earth, put his foot down and say, guys, I'm here, guys. But nobody is listening because everybody's an expert on YouTube. You give someone a camera, they're an expert. It's like all these conspiracy people. Oh, look at the clouds. Look at the chemtrails. Well, what are you going to do about it, Sherlock? Nothing. So sit down and shut up and stop posting garbage. It's not worth anything. If you can't post anything that's relevant to the world, there's no point in it, is it? It's just conspiracy. It's just hearsay. Hearsay, God despises. Because they're sugar-coated lies is what they are. I'm here to bring you what the cold hard fact is, the truth. Alright? Jeremiah 10:21. For the pastors have become brutish, and have not sought the Lord. Therefore they shall not prosper, and all their flocks shall be scattered. What do you think's happening in North America here right now with all the churches? Oh, we have Mennonite. Oh, we have Baptist. Oh, we have Alliance. Oh, we have a Catholic. It's already been divided, guys. It's already been fulfilled. Those are what the Bible refers to as these are the people that are the fools in the Bible. They can never come to the correct understanding, right? Jeremiah 22:22. The wind shall eat up thy pastors, and thy lovers shall go into captivity. Surely then shalt thou be ashamed and confounded for all thy wickedness. That word confounded. Do you remember when it goes back into the Tower of Babel when the gods came down and confounded their language? Well, the gods in the Bible are a lowercase g, which is indicating man. Okay? So that's these false gods in the Bible. Is all these false teachers. Okay? And when it talks about the gods confounded their language, it's talking about we're in the time of Genesis 11:1 where the world spoke one language. Yeah, we speak all the same language now, English. It's throughout the world now. Okay? Everyone understands it. They can speak, hi, how are you? You know, and they'll understand that. Okay? So what this is talking about, when they confounded the language, it means that every human being has a YouTube channel has their own opinion and their own understanding. That's what it means. That everybody is confounded, speaking their own tongue, but yet they speak English. You think these geniuses would have gotten that? Like I said, I've gotten that when I was a boy. It's not hard to figure out. So that's why the whole world's in chaos right now, because everybody has their own understanding. Oh, this is what salvation is. Oh, this is what God says. Oh, God told me this. God told me that. God. It's Babel. Hence, we get the Tower of Babel. It's referred to as YouTube. Okay? They built their channels so high and mighty, reaching the heavens, that they have no clue that God's on the scene. Jeremiah 23:1. Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, saith the Lord. That's quite clear, guys. Ezekiel 34:10. Now I want you to pay attention to the numbers here. 3 plus 4 is 7. 7:10. Which is referring to the commandments. Thus saith the Lord God, behold, I am against the shepherds, and I will require my flock at their hand, and cause them to cease from feeding the flock. Neither shall the shepherds feed themselves any more, for I will deliver my flock from their mouth, that they may not be meat for them. God's pretty serious about that, guys. And he gives you a direct order here. Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God. I will also forget thy children. Now this is very important. Those that forget God's commandments, the children will become rebellious. That's why we see that on YouTube today. Hosea 6:6, for I desired mercy and not sacrifice, and a knowledge of God and more than burnt offerings. Does anybody see these verses? This is the hidden path that not many find, guys. Zechariah 2:13, be silent, O all flesh, before the Lord, for he's raised up out of his holy habitation. Yeah, that's telling you God's awakening. He's here. He's on earth. And that's why I'm showing you my name. Zechariah 13:8. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. The third is the one where God gathers. The 2 are the ones that are perishing spiritually, guys. Even Jesus confirms this. Be go and ye, and learn what this means. I'll have mercy and not sacrifice. Yeah, that eliminates Jesus' sacrifice. It's just gone. Jesus doesn't die for your sins, is what it's saying. Because Jesus came to the sinners. So if you're the Jesus believer, you're the sinner. And that's why you get Paul's word, I'm a sinner and I need a savior. You don't need a savior. You need to learn how to read. Because it's quite clear. Murderers, Paul's the murderer. The devil's a murderer, right here. The devil's the murderer, right? Right? We see here, Saul is the murderer. Paul's the murderer, okay? The devil will cast you into prison, which is a spiritual prison, guys. Because you guys are in the prison of lies. And the great city was divided into 3 parts, Christian, Jew, Muslim. And the cities of the nations fell, and great Babylon came in remembrance before God, to give unto her the cup of wine of his fierceness, of his wrath. You know that cup of wine that Jesus gave you guys to drink in communion? That's the wrath of God, guys. But the pastors forget that part. But drink up, Christians. Drink your communion. Drink it. Drink the blood of Jesus. Murderers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, which is second death, which is the spiritual death, which is when you die, when you physically die, you're going to stand before the throne, and you're not going to have God's seal. You're not going to have God's commandments in your heart. Poof! Gone for eternity. See, what people don't understand about the spirit, it's eternal. That means what you carry inside you, it's going to come back. Depending if you keep God's commandments. It's called the cycle of life, guys. There's no magical place called heaven where you go, because heaven is not death. I don't know why I keep saying that. Because you hear people talking on YouTube or on Facebook or wherever, oh, my aunt and uncle went to heaven. Prove it! All we know is they're in the grave. And that's what the Isaiah 38:18 says. The grave cannot praise thee. Death cannot save thee. What did Jesus say in Mark chapter 12:27? Let the dead bury their dead. But go preach the kingdom of God. So anyways, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. All right? So it's about God's divine law. It's about my name. It's written. I do not have to say anything. You can see it with your own eyes. It's there. Accept it. Do whatever. It's there. It doesn't matter to me. I already died. Why am I still here? I don't want to be here, but I'm here to help. Because there are very good people in this world, right, that want to understand this stuff. I'm here to help them. Those who want to understand the knowledge of God, because that's what it's about. Okay? See, God pours out his spirit in the last days. That's my spirit, guys. My spirit is the thunderbird. I was given that Kwepeoteotambanese when I was an infant. It was my spirit name when I was given. This is who I am. That spirit name is the thunderbird. Okay? My name is First Thunderbird Flies West Praying. Okay? That's the name given when I was an infant. That's my spirit name. That's how the whole world will know who I am spiritually. All right? Which is found in Matthew 3:16. And the Spirit of God descended like a dove, and lightning was upon him. It's a metaphor. It wasn't an actual dove. It's talking about a type of bird. So a bird and lightning is associated with thunder. Thunderbird. That's why you see cross totem poles throughout North America. Because my ancestors already knew this story. But instead what happened, the Catholics came along, scrambled up the children's brains when they threw them in residential school, and now Native people don't know their own Bible. Instead, the Jews come along and steal that information. They're the thieves. The Jews are the thieves. That's who they are. That's why Hitler called them the scourge of the earth. And if you not see the destruction they're doing, far worse than what Hitler's have done. Because Hitler already knew who they were, what type of people they were, and their false religion. And don't hide behind Canada's law saying, I'm protected by religious freedoms. That's the problem. They replace what God is saying and created their own laws. That's where the problem comes from. God created man first, not religion. This is the first thing that people need to understand. We're all human beings first. Religion second. And that's how it should be treated. Because there's no point anymore. I'm here. I'm telling you what the truth is. That God is sovereign, not the religion. And it's God's kingdom, not the religion. If you see, just look at this. Just copy and paste it and just look at it. All right? Now, this is what I've been trying to warn since 2004 about an asteroid. I didn't know then it was going to hit. Well, they didn't understand it either, when they tracked it. It was called MN 2004, back in 2004, the year my daughter was born. Okay? And that's when I started putting this stuff together using Windows 7 and, trying to create memes. And one of my very first memes was the Revelation 12 sign. Using Stellarium, I made that meme and put it out there. No one in this world would never have gotten that if I didn't do that. And I kept putting different memes out there trying to give people clues that this was coming. I'm warning them. I've been doing that. That's what a watchman does, guys. They read the Bible, they study the Bible diligently, and then they help the people understand what's coming. That's what a prophet is, guys. A prophet is not sitting there saying, "Oh, I'm a prophet, guys. Look at me. Jesus tells you this. Love, and start making up lies. Like all these liars on YouTube. God told me this. God told me that. And then nothing comes to pass for what they say. All this stuff I'm showing you is coming from the Bible. Okay? If the Bible is telling you 2/3 of them are going to die, what is that telling you? There's going to be a destruction coming spiritually, both spiritually and physically. Okay? So it's talking about the holy water and the fire. The fire is the cleansing part, and the holy water is the redemption part. Friday the 13th, we know what that's associated with, right? Jason. You know, the beast? You know, the guy that comes down and chases you and slays you up with the sword? That guy. If anybody watched those movies, Friday the 13th movies, Jason walks around with a sword. Why do you think Jesus is walking around saying, "I come with a sword"? My goodness. If only you guys could see the spiritualness behind it. Now, if you take a look at the name behind Jason, the letter J didn't exist not to the 17th century. Okay? Before it was used as with a Y. So the Hebrew word, the name for Jason is Yasin. Okay? Yasin means in Hebrew, the Lord is salvation. You think you would get that? And then what is salvation in Hebrew? Yeshua. Think about that for a moment. They're one. The Lord is salvation. Jason is the Lord of salvation where Jesus resides in. That's why when I show you how it all fits, it'll all make sense. Okay, Matthew 5:48, as in, you know, the eclipse month, 4:8. Be therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. Heaven is the internet. Okay? And in order to be perfect, you keep the words perfect how they are written. You don't interpret to what you think. You just keep them the way it's supposed to be, from top to bottom, from beginning and end. That's how God declares it. There's no verse by verse, chapter by chapter. If you keep listening to the fools that talking about that, you're not going to understand the spiritual message that God brings. That's why Jesus is telling you to repent. Forget what you guys know. Empty your cups and start over. And I'm showing you. Okay, Mark 10 verse 8. They always associate this verse as, I'm going to be married to Jesus. Oh my goodness, I'm going to be married to Jesus. After Jesus said, deny yourself? Like, come on, guys. Mark 10 verse 8. And the two shall be one flesh. So then there are no two more, but one flesh. You remember when Moses divided the waters? Yeah, he split them in two. Okay, Jesus and Jason. Okay, that's what this is talking about. Okay, Luke 12:30. And this also includes, the two that'll be in the field. Okay, one will be taken and one will be left. One Jesus and one Jason. Luke 17:30. And the day when the Son of Man is revealed. Yeah, it's about the revealing of who the Son of Man is. Jesus is telling you this. He's not talking about himself. He's trying to explain to you how it's going down. He if you didn't want a secret to be shared where your enemy didn't want to know, well, you would disguise it in a way through the word. Those that are worthy will figure it out. Okay? That's how it was designed. It wasn't designed backwards where you think that Jesus died for you and then, you fell for the trap. So, Luke 23:46. Now, this is the key verse here. This is a very key verse here. This is where everybody ignores. They don't even want to understand what this is talking about. 23 as in 2023. 46, I was 46 years old. Okay? And when Jesus had cried with loud voice, he said, Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit. And having said thus, he gave up the ghost. So his spirit, Jesus' spirit, went to the Father. Did anybody pick that up? Where did Jesus go? Well, he's telling you where he's going. His spirit is going back to the Father, guys. So it's the Father that's going to be raised up. And that's what's going on right now. I am the Father, guys. Right? Remember, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. The Holy Ghost represents God, God's Spirit. God's Spirit dwells in the Son, and then God's Spirit dwells in the Father. The Son goes back into the Father and become one. It's already happened. It's inside me. God's Spirit dwelt in me when I was a boy, when I was given, the Spirit of God, when I was an infant through one of my customs, my customs for a spirit name giving. That's where God's Spirit is. Then Jesus' Spirit, when I accepted Jesus when I was 9 years old, dwelt in me. I have all this knowledge in my brain I'm trying to get out. That's why I can't let go of the Bible. I can't stop speaking about it, guys. Everywhere I go, even when I'm at dialysis, even when I'm talking to the nurses, when I share them the Bible, they're just so amazed by it. They're like, whoa, wow, are you a pastor or something? And I said, no, I'm not a pastor. If you know the stuff that I know, you do not want to be a pastor. After I showed you what the pastors do. See, I've known this stuff, guys. My name is Jason Campo. I showed you my name. Okay, I'm a father. I have children, and my name's in the Bible, which is telling you the Father in heaven. The heaven is symbolic, meaning the words that you're seeing. It's the internet. See, that was one of the questions I've always been puzzled with when I was a kid. Every time I would hear the pastor saying, everybody's going to see him in the clouds. You know Revelations 1:7, right? 1:7, 17, Acts 17, where the name Jason's found, right? Is it connecting? So, I've always been puzzled by it. I've always thought about it. I daydreamed about it. I'm sitting in a beautiful sunny day. I can feel the wind. I can hear the birds chirping. It was like, it's one of those days that you just dream of. I was just laying there in the hammock. We had a hammock, right? So I just lay there all day and just think. And I always think about that verse. I'm like, how is that possible? Right? When Jesus returns, right? Everyone says you're going to see him in the clouds. Okay, obviously we get an image of him being in the clouds, okay? And his voice speaks. How is his voice going to speak to someone from where I was, right, on the other side to China? Okay, how is that going to work? I always thought it was impossible. Okay, until 1998 when dial-up internet appeared. That was when the day I realized that's how everybody's going to see him in the clouds. But I did not put it together. It was the internet, Windows and all that, and the net, right? Until these past few years when I found my last name in 2019. I didn't find my last name until November 23rd. Remember, it's on God's clock, guys. So that's when I found my last name. November 23rd, 2019. Right before COVID appeared. Okay? And Exodus 20:20, I've always had in my brain since I was a kid. So I knew this day was coming. It says there specifically, Moses said unto the people, fear not, God has come to prove you that ye sin not. I knew that day, I knew this day was coming. That's when I was trying to say, God's not joking around anymore. His word's real. And now we see all this stuff going down. Okay? So now we're back to the, two shall become one flesh, okay? So this is the transition period between Jesus is coming back into the Father's Spirit. Okay? And the Father is the Son of Man. Okay, just so you know. And when Jesus, that's what he said. So Father, he to the hands, he gave the Spirit, he gave up the ghost back to the Father. Okay? That's why we have John 10 verse 30. I and the Father are one. And the Father is recognized as the number 13. Okay? 13 is associated with Jason the 13th, right? I and the Father are one. So now we're going back to John 12:38. That the sake, see, this is what's going to be fulfilled. The arm of the Lord, the one where I'm shedding my blood, the one I'm paying for your guys' sins, where I'm doing willingly, not where you have to murder someone for your salvation. This is where Revelation 22:13 is being fulfilled, where the ram is offered up as a sacrifice, because it goes back to God creating the earth. Right? And God being accountable for himself and humanity. That's why God becomes the sacrifice, paying for everyone's sins. Not where you have to murder someone. That's the wrath of God, guys. You cannot break God's law. Do you guys understand now? God is accountable for sin. That's why this is saying that the saying of Isaiah the prophet might be fulfilled, which he spoke, Lord, who has believed our report? And to whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed? So it's talking about the arm of the Lord. It's not talking about the Jewish wrapping up their arms and binding and saying this. Well, if they're going to bind up their arms, well, they're going to have to also, have their blood poured out through a dialysis machine and have their blood washed. Obviously, the Jews, that's not about them. So this is spoken about. Who has, Isaiah 53:1, who has believed our report and to whom the arm of the Lord is revealed? Okay. That's what this is about. The arm of the Lord. It has nothing to do with a man's death. All right. Okay, so now we go to, now this is where everybody just seems to stop. Once it gets to the resurrection of Jesus, that's it. They don't want to continue the story. They just say, oh, that's it. Game over. Done. We're saved. But they don't want, the story continues. Because the guy that returns, it wasn't Jesus that returned. It was the Father. That's why if you continue to read there, it tells you clearly that they didn't recognize him. His mother didn't recognize him. The disciples didn't recognize him. The only time they recognized him was the words he spoke. Okay? It's written, he spoke the words of Jesus. Well, who's the one giving Jesus the words to begin with? It was the Father who was teaching Jesus. So it was the Father that returned. It was the Father that took the body out of the tomb and took him to Thessalonica and had him buried. That's why we have Acts 17 verse 23, to the unknown God. That's where the Father buried Jesus. They don't want to continue that story. Instead, they want to go back to the beginning of Acts and say, oh, they seen him go up in the clouds. Well, you need to understand it's a mountainous region, and when you go up into the mountain by foot, you'll end up in the clouds anyways. Any mountain climber can tell you that. Jeez, my goodness, you need to stop looking at these Christian images of lies. So now here, this is what it continues. Acts 17 verse 7. So November 17th, 1985, okay, was the day when I received Jesus. When I accepted Jesus in my heart. Okay? I stood at that Terry Winder's crusade, went up there right away, stood up in the line of people, and accepted Jesus. That's when that happened. That's when Jesus' Spirit entered in my heart. The literal one. And that's why I couldn't put down the book. It's like he was showing me everything. And by the time I was 13, I was already a master at the Bible. But I didn't know my name yet. Okay? I didn't want to say anything to nobody, because if I said, oh, guess what? This is me in here. Guess what's going to happen? I'll be ridiculed with no evidence. I have the evidence now. You see my name. So November 17th, 1985, I was 9 years old at a Terry Winters crusade in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. Okay? Which is talking about, now if you understand these semicolons, whom Jason had received, it continues on by these Caesars, but then it says, another king, one Jesus. This is what people don't want to see. Jason and Jesus are in the same verse. Okay? So, when it talks about God, okay, God being the ultimate being, okay, it's, how shall I say it? It's just a title. It's not meaning anything. Okay? The Jews didn't understand who God was. They still don't. They don't care. They think it's them. They think it's all about them. This is their error. And this is why the world is starting to turn against them. Because the world is beginning to realize who these people really are. The frauds they are. The destruction they're bringing onto the earth just because of their vanity. It's only going to be the shame that's going to be brought upon them. And the whole world's going to see their shame. This is the shame that God sees. You know, that they tried to cover themselves with fig leaves, right? That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to cover themselves with fig leaves right now. That's why it talks about that Jesus is warning them, okay, the fig tree is going to die, wither away and die. Which is indicating, once the tree dies, there's going to be no leaves to cover themselves with. Which is basically telling you, once this all's been opened, once I tell everybody what the truth is, the actual real truth of who I am, who Jesus was, that he really never existed, he was the Spirit. He was the actual Holy Ghost or Holy Spirit that you guys keep talking about. And what happens when you murder the Holy Ghost? What did Jesus say about blaspheming the Holy Ghost? It's an unforgivable sin, which is telling you, thou shalt not kill. Do you guys understand now? So when Christians are following the lies of Christianity, it's an unforgivable sin. That's why Jesus kept crying and trying to tell you to repent. So Revelations 4:2, and immediately I was in spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one that sat on the throne. Okay? All right? Okay, I'm just going to finish up now. I hope you guys, hope that made sense. So you guys need to understand what heaven is. I'm giving it to you black and white. Okay, well first let's go to the biblical verses so you can understand that heaven is not death. And that's how everybody's going to see him in the cloud. Through the internet, guys. All right. Isaiah 38:18. Otherwise 9:11. For the grave cannot praise thee, death cannot celebrate thee. They that go into the pit cannot hope for thy truth. Isaiah 65:17. For behold, I create a new heavens and new earth, and the former shall not be remembered. Which is telling you that God is coming to change something up, which is basically telling you a new understanding what heaven is. You guys all think heaven is death. It's not. Mark 12:27. He is not the God of the dead, but the God of the living. Ye therefore do greatly err. Luke 9:60, Jesus said unto him, let the dead bury their dead, but thou go preach the kingdom of God. Pretty clear, guys. If you guys want to believe Jesus, believe him now. Because he's telling you, heaven is not death. The trumpet, the voice of God. Yeah, that's happening right now, guys. Here's all the associated verses. God's voice is Exodus 19:19. Learn, guys. I'm showing you. Read. The seven grandfathers, or the seven spirits of God, Revelation 4:5. Bravery, honesty, humility, love, respect, truth, wisdom. If you can't keep these, okay, you can't keep the 10 commandments. All right? The 10 laws of God. So these two go together. Okay? Keep these verses here. See, 2019, the commandments. That's when I found my name. Google Earth. Okay? Here's the coordinates to locate where the real 10 commandments are located. The Paleo-Hebrew ones are found in North America, not in fake Israel. Remember, God is the one that takes you back to the commandments, not these Jews. You wonder why everyone's fleeing the fake Israel now. Because the Holy Land is not a country. It's earth. My goodness. Genesis 2:2. The seventh day, God in his work, he rested on the seventh day. You know, 7:2, 7:2, or 7:11, 7:11. The beginning and the end. You guys get it now? It's even encoded there in the coordinates. That's divinity, guys. That's like amazing stuff. When I put this together, I'm just like, my mind's, and when I show people, they're just like so amazed by it. They're like, oh, I forget. I want to read my Bible, you know. And I said, well, the reason why you don't want to read your Bible is because you don't understand it yet, right? The reason why you don't understand it, nobody wants to understand it because everyone's lying about it. So you get frustrated by it. And it was like, yo, that makes sense. Well, yeah, because the pastors, I show them a verse of the pastors. Well, that makes sense. And I said, yeah, because everyone's supposed to wait for God's arrival. God's going to be on earth. He shows up at the beginning, he shows up at the end. This is what nobody wants to read their Bible to understand that. If they read their Bible, they would know that this is the time. But instead, they're guessing. Oh, look at the signs. Look at the signs. Well, obviously, the signs are telling you that God's on earth. You see that with the solar eclipse. You see these events happening. Israel going to war. And I'm right here, guys. I'm trying to help out here. I'm showing you my name, my biblical name in the Bible. You know, Jason. You know, Jason, he was a Greek hero. He was the one that led the 12, right? Everyone forgets that part. No one wants to learn their history. They don't want to Google the name Jason. I've never seen nobody talking about it yet. What are they so afraid of? You know what they're afraid of? Because all these big channels on YouTube, they're afraid that they're going to lose all these subscribers because they don't want to let go of their love for Jesus. Well, it's not about, you know, forgetting your love of Jesus. It's understanding what's actually happening in the story. That they changed his name to Jesus from Jason. And what has happened is just going back to that. That's what Jason really did. Because he knew there was going to be fraudsters that come along like Paul. You know, that everybody's following, you know, the devil murderer, the one that caused all this stuff. And they don't realize that King Herod had a foster brother, was Saul. And Saul was dispatched to hunt down the children and murder them. What do you think's happening in Israel? All right, so the internet, Windows operating system 7 to 11. Windows operating system 11 came out in the year 2022. 1111 is 22, right? 1611 King James. 1 plus 6 is 7. 711. Windows of heaven were open. Genesis 711. Or the generation of 711, you know, of the internet. right? The Lord God, I will spread out my net, right? Ezekiel 32:3, which is talking about he's coming to gather through the internet. Father, Lord of heaven and earth. Matthew 11:25, or 117. 2 plus 5 is 7, right? The kingdom of heaven is like unto a net. Matthew 13:47, as in Jason the 13th, I am, how shall I say? I am 47 years old right now. I'll be 48 this year in August, as in, I'll be 48 this year, as in the total eclipse 48. Right? Which is, this verse is talking about in John 1, 2, 3. The word is God, the word was God, the word is God. www and 3G. What is that telling you guys? All things were made by him. All right? Which is the seal of God. Revelation 7:2. 7:2. 2:7. As in Matthew 24:27, as in 2024 and 27. You guys getting it? You're going to see him from the east and come from the west. Jesus was in the east. I am in the west. As in, my name is the Thunderbird. First Thunderbird flies west praying. That's me. Right? All right. He has a name written that no man knew. See, nobody's going to know my name. Only I'm going to know my name. And my name is the Word of God. That's what it says right there. See? 19, 12, 13, or 1, 1, 2, 3. Right? 23:11 or 23:11. Do you guys get it now? I'm just showing you. Because it's about the Father's house. Isn't that what Jesus said? I go now. I go prepare a place for you. For my Father's house has many mansions. So it's about the Father's house, guys. The house of the Father, or the house of Jason. Jason's house. Jason's house, Acts 17 verse 5. 1 plus 7 is 8. 8:5 or 5:8. Matthew 5:8. Blessed are the pure in heart. They shall see God. My goodness. Come on, guys. Like, having to repeat myself constantly over and over again, and nobody's wanting to share this information. Remember, it's your guys' souls. You each have your own soul. It's your responsibility, right, to help others. The more you help others, the more this world can stop being in confusion, and we can start working together and start, sharing my information and stop these Christians and Jews and Muslims from fighting each other. Well, I know they're not fighting, but they're fighting spiritually is what they're doing. They're trying to prove who's right. Oh, my Muslim religion is better than yours. Oh, my Christian religion is better than yours. Oh, my Jewish religion is better than yours. Oh my goodness, it just gives me a headache just thinking of it. Just keep the word how I'm showing you, copy and paste, and make memes. That's all you need to do. Because that's how you fulfill what Jesus had said, love God and love your neighbor. You love God by sharing his laws, and you love your neighbor at the same time. That's how you do it. And you're saved. You won't know you're saved until you actually physically die. That's where your faith will come in, guys. That's why it talks about in Jeremiah 23:28, right? The word, the keeping the word is faith. Keeping God's commandments is keeping faith in God. That's where Jesus' faith is, in God's law. Jesus obeyed God. Jesus was not going to obey the devil and accept his Christ Messiah title. It's about God's holy name. That's why it's quite clear, right? Ezekiel 34:11 or 7:11. For thus saith the Lord God, behold, I will both search my sheep and seek them out. That's quite clear. Ezekiel 36:22. Therefore say unto the house of Israel. Yeah, now pay attention. This is what the Jews, Christians ignore. Thus saith the Lord God, I do this not for your sakes, O house of Israel. Basically telling you the house of Israel does not matter. Who gives a shit about the house of Israel? Because it's not about the house of Israel. But for mine holy name's sake, which ye have profaned among the heathen whither ye went. Ezekiel 36:23. And I will sanctify my great name, which was profaned among the heathen, which ye have profaned in the midst of them. And the heathen shall know that I am the Lord, saith the Lord God, when they shall be sanctified in you before their eyes. 2 Chronicles 7:16. For now I have chosen and sanctified this house, that my name be there forever, and my eyes and my heart shall be there perpetually. 2 Chronicles 16:35. And say ye, save us, O God of our salvation, and gather us together, and deliver us from the heathen, that we may give thanks to thy holy name, and glory in thy praise. That the Lord is king forever and ever, and the heathen shall perish out of his land. And God is king, not Jesus. The holy arm, with the kidney shall I take away. Yeah, because I'm in kidney failure and I'm on dialysis machine and my blood's being poured out and being washed. With 2 needles, he'll be pierced for the transgressions of our sins, right? 2 needles go in my arm, right? 2 needles go in my arm, which makes my arm holy. I have given it upon the altar to make an atonement for your souls. And I will walk among you. Yeah, I am literally walking on this earth, guys. And I will be your God, and ye shall be my people. That's what it says. And the Lord descended in the cloud and stood him there and proclaimed the name of the Lord. And what is that name? Jason Campo. That's my name. Water in French is EAU. Campo. Camp water. He gathers his people to his camp and he blesses them with water. Any questions, guys? So anyways, sometimes I get a little too rambunctious, you know. I apologize. Like I said, it's just like if you knew the stuff that I knew since you're a boy, and you're trying to get that information out and try and help people understand it, but all you see is nothing but liars on YouTube, well, you kind of get frustrated. And because all you want to do is help. This goes back to that video that I see on YouTube. I mean on Instagram, and everyone's just, you know, protecting the security guard's interest, but they're not actually looking at the humanity behind that whole story. This guy was an elder. Now, if I can understand if this elder was assaulting another human being, I can see some apprehension involved. You know, pulling him off. But apparently the guy was just assaulting a debit machine. It could be replaced, no problem. No reason to assault an elder. This all goes back to humanity. It goes to me. I could sit in here and say, oh, this world will be destroyed. Oh, let it be destroyed. But it's coming to be destroyed here soon. Like I said, there's going to be an asteroid. It's called MN24 or Apophis. Okay? It goes back to, right? This is what the commandment is saying in Deuteronomy 10:13. Otherwise, Friday the 13th, right? 2023. What happened, right? 10 plus 13 is what? 23, right? So it talks about keep the commandments on the Lord of God this day. That's when it starts. You're supposed to keep the commandments during this time. There's a time period. That period is from now up until 2029. There's plenty of time for people to understand what the law is. Okay? Before that asteroid comes. Because they're saying this asteroid, it's going to come so close to the Earth that Earth's gravitational field will affect it somehow. It's either going to be drawn in and hit, or it's going to be deflected. Then it's going to hit in 2036. Okay? I don't know if it's 2036. I'm just guessing. Okay? All I know is that asteroid is called Apophis now. Okay? I've been trying to warn about this since 2004, guys. And if you guys want to understand what a prophet is, this is what I'm trying to show you what a prophet is. That this asteroid is coming. Get your facts together. Get them right. Stop these Christians and Jews and Muslims from fighting amongst each other and realize we need to come together as a people, as a human people, not a religious people. We don't need religion anymore, guys. Our planet is being destroyed on an incredible level. Every human being in this world can take part in restoring it. Everybody can. From the trash that's being thrown out, from everybody sitting there seeing someone dumping a trash can out, you could tell that guy, pick up your trash. It's our earth. It's our home. It's up to us to take care of it. That's what God instructed us to do in the beginning. Genesis 2:15. And the Lord God told man to tend and to keep it. That's why we have the commandments. Honor the father, honor the mother. It's not about your mother and father. It's talking about the Father in heaven and the mother earth. So that way the days be long on the land I give thee. Right? But instead, you're given a choice now. And there's a time limit now. Okay? That asteroid is the prophecy of Abraham and Lot. You remember that story when the two angels came to their house and said, well, is there going to be 50 people in this area here? Well, the question is, right? If they already calculated where it's going to hit in California. Okay? Los Angeles, or it's basically going to take out a city. It's not going to do that much destruction, but it's going to do enough destruction for people to really notice. Okay, it's not an earth-shattering asteroid. It's a wake-up call. Okay? God gives us a warning, and that warning is, dummy up now. That we have a time limit now from, right? Friday the 13th, Deuteronomy 10, or 10/13, or Friday the 13th, 2023, to April 13th, 2029. That's exactly 2009 days. 29. I keep seeing that number 29 all over the place, which is 911, 911, 911. It's a warning. God's giving us a warning, and He's giving His grace to give us this warning. But nobody wants to see it. Instead, they're stuck in their religion, trying to prove who's right or wrong while war is going on. That's the war. The war in heaven is people fighting on the internet with each other. That's why God has to intervene and show you what the truth is. Okay? Because God declares the end from the beginning. Right? The end as in we're coming to the end. The end of the whole story. Now we have to go back to the beginning and retrace your steps and understand what's actually happening. That's how it works. Because it's about God's Spirit, not man's spirit. And the last days is not the end of days. The last days is the religions. There's going to be no more religion no more. Hallelujah, guys. Because that's how God brings peace to the earth. Right? Get rid of religion. Where God comes out, hey, guess what? Here's what the truth is. And everyone's going to be like, either accept it or you don't. Because regardless what I say, 2/3 are going to perish. You want to be the third that survive. So keep these words. Share these words. The more people out there that, warns people about this, the better it is for humanity's sake. Because, like I said, once humanity wakes up and starts working together, like all the nations of the world, we can prevent this asteroid from hitting and prevent it and working together. This is the time, like as birth pains, okay, where God restores the kingdom, right? This is during that time. We're in that time. It's going to be a turbulent time, right? While the kingdom is being restored, right? If you guys read your Bibles, you know what I'm talking about. Okay? That's the choice we have now. We can live in a materialistic world, which leads the earth to destruction, or we lead the world in a spiritual revolution. Which, if you guys are familiar with Star Trek, right? It talks about, during the like they say, World War III happens, right? And then the world seems to wake up and human enlightenment progresses. We're in that time now, where human enlightenment is going to be birthed. Okay? Where you have to get through this turbulent time, get rid of all these false teachers, all these false Christs, right? They have to be cleansed out of the land. All the false pastors, all these false rabbis, they have to be cleansed. They have to be purged. Okay? Because what's more important? Your children's future? Or what's in the past? Well, for one thing, you can't go in the past. So enough with these false teachers that were in the past. They're gone. They're dead. We're in the present now. The present is a gift. Treat it as such. Okay? Each person that you look at today, okay? Don't look at them as an enemy. I know how hard it is. I walk on this earth every day. I get frustrated too. But I overcome that. Okay? I do the best I can. All right? To try and help people. I've been helping people read the Bible since I was a kid. Because that's the only thing I can do. Now I can do it on a much larger scale. Like, share the world, my voice throughout the world. Hoping that people hear my message and understand that, you know what, we live in a fragile planet. A huge asteroid can destroy and wipe everything out in a blink of an eye. Because everyone is blind, everyone will be just destroyed, gone. Why does God want to keep this earth here when the whole world is all in a delusion of religion? There's a difference that people always ask. There's a difference between believe and knowing. I'd rather know things than believe things. Because if you notice the word believe, it has the word lie in it. I'd rather know things, guys. And I know the Bible. I've known it since I was a boy. And I'm trying to help you understand. So, anyways, I think I rambled on too long, and some of the words is, well, all you do is talk and all this. Well, good. If you don't like what I say, right? There's a door, there's an exit button. There's even a block button. Okay? Use it. I don't need to hear your ridiculous argument. This asteroid is coming regardless what you guys think. Because if we go back to the time of Lot and Abraham, okay, they were given a choice. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. That thing is coming to hit. So the question you ask yourself, are there 45 righteous people in Los Angeles? I've asked people like that in my dials, they're just like, they look at me and they're like, And the first thing that Hollywood pops in their head. And then they look at the sin and the depravity going on there, and they're just like, their heads they just go down like that. Just the expression when I share them this story, because they think this is in the past. It's not in the past. It's actually happening now. Just because you see it in the past, it's not. Every Bible verse is being fulfilled one way or the other, not in the way you guys are seeing it. Okay? So that's why we see that solar eclipse. Why we see the warnings. I've been warning these things were happening with the use of stellarium since it was created. Right? And, that's what it says there. Knowledge will increase. Well, yeah. Knowledge has increased when stellarium was created. When internet was created. Guys. So the whole point is to put my name is in your doorpost and the commandments. The secret things belong to Lord our God, but those that things are revealed belong to us and our children forever and ever, that we may do the words of this law. Right? And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be delivered. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance, as the Lord had said, and in the remnant whom the Lord shall call. And a psalm, sing unto the Lord a new song, for he has done marvelous things. His right hand and his holy arm has gotten him the victory. Great is our Lord, and great power. His understanding is infinite. Who can say, I have made my heart clean, I am pure of my sin? Okay. Then charge ye disciples to should tell no man that he was Jesus the Christ. Yeah, because my name is Jason Campo, guys. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope I'm clear today. That it's about treating people with respect. Okay? And putting material things second. Alright? I know how hard it is to deal with people. But you got to do everything in your power to forget about who we are as individuals. Like I said, Jesus, deny yourself. And look at the humanity. Okay? I do that every day. We have to overcome those devil's temptations. The devil that comes, right? He comes in there and he gets you angry. When you see all this stuff that you don't agree with, he gets you angry. I know. I deal with it every day. And I'm sure everyone else does. But we need to overcome that. And bring our lights. Which is shining that light, which is, the light is the law that we'll have in our hearts. That light reflects on others. So in that instance, in that Instagram video about that elder, damaging the machine there, the simple question you need to ask yourself, can you ask anybody that's having a trouble, are you okay? Show some compassion to a human being. And that would make your day a lot better. Rather than grabbing the guy and assaulting him and causing injury to yourself and to the patron, you can actually ask him. It goes back to my father-in-law. He was a great man. His name was Joseph. I respect him with all my heart. Very intelligent and very wise man. Very caring. He would give you the shirt off his back. That's the type of person he was. And he was a security guard for many years. And he never had to touch nobody. Because it was his friendliness, his demeanor. And that's his experience. Okay? So I know the difference between fools and experience. Okay? So I hope my message has made sense. Alright? I appreciate you all. Okay? From the bottom of my heart. I express myself showing you my spirit, hoping that you can understand where my heart is. My heart is trying to save earth, because that's what it says in John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. That everlasting life is earth, guys. Okay, that's the choice that we're confronted with now in these years, these 2009 days, till 2029, till April 13th, Friday the 13th. Okay. So, you know, the one beast in the Bible, there's a good beast in the Bible. Okay? That's the beast that everyone fears because it's the truth. Nobody likes the truth. And that truth hunts you down. And once he hunts you down, he slays you with his sword. That sounds like Jason the 13 movie, doesn't it? Anyways, again, I appreciate you guys all. All right. Love the Lord your God with your heart, mind, and soul. I didn't come to take away the law of the prophets. I came to fulfill. All right. Again, from the bottom of my heart, I hope this message resonates with you. Thank you, and have yourself a very good day.